so they do get to interview at major corporations. And that was the way we looked at it, was when we went to Neshoba, but the problem was at Neshoba that we were hiring the people that didn't make the first cut at all the other major schools. So they were following at Neshoba. So, you know, there's always, now, but if that talent is better than the other talent you're comparing, it's still, I mean, there's people that can do the same job. You don't even have to have an MBA and could do a better job.
Right.
But this is what the system that we've created.
Did you have a comment?
No, I just think that, I'll give you an example of, is it targeted against me $3 million a week, I think, $165 million a year. And so I was on a board of some group, and they used to sponsor, and then they decided not to. And so I shook every tree I could shake in Minneapolis to get this money back for this group. And like, well, I went through and I'm pushy. And I didn't get the money. And here's what they told me. Your organization doesn't support K through 12 graduation rates to high school. And by the way, we only care about programs that help people graduate from high school. And if your program is focused on high school, that's too late. We will only fund things that are like K through 8 because that's the make or break years. So I'm looking at, we're having a great discussion on recruiting at the college level, but you know, LA Unified laid off 3,000 teachers. You know, I'm on a couple of groups with Boys and Girls Club. They all lost about $300,000 when LAUSD cut their funding. And so it's like everywhere you turn, it seems like at the primary school level or the elementary school level, there are cuts being made. They're going to have huge impacts on all of our talent acquisition capabilities 10 years from now. And so I guess I ask, and you know, just it's a general question, what are we all doing in terms of the talent wars to think about doing what some companies are doing and looking at that sort of K through 8 group and trying to fund elementary schools and trying to fund junior highs and hoping that that impacts the high school level and the college level. Are we willing to be that long-term thinking?
I think it's strategic foundation. I mean, the foundation that probably gives these money, I mean, they have a goal. You know what, we're going to try to do this. And the issue is true. You know, 1 year the person that's the VP or the CEO said, you know what, we're going after education in the middle schools. And then the next CEO comes or the next VP comes, you know what, I want to focus on people to make it to college. Because if they don't make it to college, they can't afford, you know, we can't get them. And that's what happens. And then but they at least try to follow a strategy. We're focusing on this or that. And then the reality is they got to flip it. They gave you money for 5 years. There's 500 other companies or nonprofits that also want that money. So they move it around. And I mean, I've seen Target do it. I've seen General Mills do it. I've seen Amoco do it. You know, it's trying to give as much as you can to everybody. Because you can't keep sourcing someone for infinitum. Think about that. You know?
I commend them for having a strategy and sticking to it.
Yeah,
but
that's
it highlighted for me that, wow, yeah, we're thinking about college recruiting, but you know, somebody's thinking about that company someday is going to benefit, I think, from that strategy.
One of the things I want to revisit, and as we get ready to wrap up here, is war for talent. Quite often we associate that with external recruitment efforts. I don't think we pay enough attention to retention and how to retain the talent that we have within an organization. Glenn said earlier, 45% of workers in the workplace really dislike their jobs. In the same breath, Isaiah, as you said that, you know, individuals could have 8 jobs in a career nowadays. So I want us to talk about that because I think is right now corporations are in a place where they're losing their own talent faster than they're being able to bring in talent. Would love to hear thoughts around, you know, let's talk about career pathing. What are some of the strategies that we want to share with the audience that either are in practice or in theory that corporations really should be thinking about to be able to retain their top talent?
And I think it's not only retain their top talent, it's retaining their diverse talent. If you look at the numbers again, I'll use the General Mills as an example. You hire 40 MBAs in marketing, and they come into your class. That's the assistant marketing manager. 40 of them. 10 years later, there's luckily, if you're lucky, there's 3. One of them is a director, 2 other them are senior managers, haven't been promoted yet. They haven't, you know, made the decision to make it to director. At director every 10 years, you're basically a VP in most other companies. 11 years ago, I met Ricardo Fernandez, University of Michigan, MBA, intern, met him at Neshama, got hired, came aboard, got him involved in the employee network. He became the vice president, became the president, got mentored, did very well, was the top of his class to become a manager, was the first one in his class to become a director. He's in Brazil now. He'll probably be the first Hispanic that's been brought in from campus that will make it to vice president in the history of General Mills. So that just shows you how hard it is to keep one person in one company and continue to promote. It is very hard, because the other part of that is when you're recruiting experienced people, you go to your hiring manager, you go, you want to bring in diversity? Well, it's going to take us longer to find it, and you're going to have to pay more for it. And you're going to have to figure out how to make them happy, because guess what? They're very happy where they're at. For you to hire them away from that company, you've got to show them a better path and a better progression and a better life balance. That's what it takes to recruit diversity. And most companies aren't willing to do that. They expect you to have 15 people that fit that spec, that are diverse, that are going to be able to go move to where your company's at, and for the money that you want, and get in line behind 10 other people that have been inside the company. So that's what makes, I think, the whole process harder. Story, and part of that is when I met him and giving him the idea, you can make it to the top. 5 years ago, when we knew he was going to become director, I pulled him aside and said, guess what? Forget about me, but you could be the first Hispanic CEO of General Mills. That's what you got to start telling people. And then when he breaks that, then it's going to be incredible. And it's a handful of people. I mean, the tower gets really tight at the top. But it's being a member of the employee network, getting to meet the other presidents, golfing with the CEO. I mean, those are the things that are part of the politics that we help people get there.
We're gonna wrap up, and I'm gonna ask the panelists to give their final comments and thoughts to the representatives in the audience as we talk about why it's an imperative to really shift and begin to think differently about employing new strategies within your respective companies when we talk about this war for talent, and the influences from a multicultural and generational standpoint. So, Linda, I'll start with you, please.
I'm going to address something that you asked about, and something that's been said here, and maybe this will just kind of give a different perspective too. I think the shift has to happen when the broader culture and the organizational culture, and this I understand this takes time. I think part of it is how much are we willing to push, where I think right now, it doesn't matter if you're diverse. If you're diverse, there's still, I think, this little expectation that we have to assimilate. We've been talking about this all day, right? That we have to kind of be like the other guys, the networking through the golfing and all the other kind of stuff. Well, what if you're not willing to do that, because that's not really in alignment with who you are, or you have other commitments? And I think we have to start having conversations about finding those common values where, yes, we share, as an individual within this organization, I share these values, but I may not always express it in those same ways that you're expecting me to express it. So I may still